Bob Marley One Love is still in theaters going strong, and if you want to erase that terrible memory of Madam Web, then check out this one because it had me jamming, man, big time. Hello everybody, welcome to MF Reviews. I'm your host Michael, and today we're going to be reviewing the latest musical biopic, Bob Marley One Love.
Feeling hot, hot, hot. Feeling hot, hot, hot.
Ben-adir plays the iconic Bob Marley in this movie, and it takes place in 1976 during the political chaos in Jamaica. And he's basically trying to throw this free concert to unite both political parties so that they can come to a peaceful resolution and stop the violence.
Bob, I know it's dangerous, but you're the only one who can unite the people.
He wants to do it. He wants to help and unite the people, but very quickly there's an assassination attempt on his life, and him and a few others are wounded. He doesn't end up doing the concert because he wants to protect his family, but he ends up leaving to London, where him and the Wailers write the incredible album Exodus. So if you know anything about Bob Marley, I know you've heard this album, you've seen the album cover. It's very simple, very, very famous, and this is one of the most influential albums of the century. While he's in London, they're debating on whether he should do this peace concert back in Jamaica or go on tour and kind of spread his message to the global masses. The movie also has some flashbacks that don't go really deep into his career. It really takes place during the 1976 to 1980 range. Let's talk about the performances. I'm going to be honest with you. Going into this movie, I didn't like Kingsley Ben-adir. I've seen him in Peaky Blinders. He was pretty good in there. But what really got a bad taste in my mouth was Marvel's Secret Invasion. And he was the main antagonist of that movie. And it was god awful. I don't think that show helped his career at all. In fact, I think it hurt this movie because people wanted to see a rising star, but unfortunately Secret Invasion was god awful. A lot of people are going to think that he's doing an impression of Bob Marley, but I actually liked his performance. The usage of the music in this movie was fantastic. Not just the big concerts, but the rehearsals and the writing of the lyrics as well. And that's the stuff that really worked for me, was when he's just kind of stringing the guitar and him and the band are kind of creating these lyrics. And his wife is sitting there listening to him and admiring, you know, where this is coming from, which is his heart and his soul. And that's where Kingsley Ben-adir really shined, because I think for the most part, he's doing his own singing. And I think outside of the major concerts where Bob Marley was dubbed, he's singing most of the songs, which is, you know, just adds to how talented he really is. But you know who was even better than him was Lashana Lynch. She plays Rita Marley, his wife, and she is a show stealer. Rita Marley was really the strength of this relationship, and she pushed him when times got tough to continue his message and to never really give up and be distracted by the fame and the money. And I really like how they showed Bob and Rita's relationship and how complicated it was, but it was cool to see them fall back on their faith when times were tough. It's something you don't see very often anymore, but guess what? It adds depth to the characters. Now let's talk about the negatives. I would say the first 25% of the movie took me a while to get locked in. I feel like I was just watching a made-for-TV movie. The main problem with the movie was the structure. It felt like there was flashbacks here and there, and you were kind of confused on how it tied into the main story. But I think including flashbacks and other things like that could work, but I don't feel like they executed it very good. And then this one's kind of touchy, but it's something I got to bring up. You know, I'm really good with accents. I can understand almost everybody all the time, but the accents were super strong in the first like 10 minutes. So before going into this movie, make sure you're adjusted and ready to focus in on what they're saying.
May I take your hat, sir? May I?
All right, I've heard enough.
It's one of those situations where I wish there was captions. Like I was going to bust out my remote and turn on the captions, but you know, you have to stay focused in this movie. And I really wanted to learn more about Bob Marley and how he became who he was. But it just kind of jumps right into the concerts and how famous he gets very, very quickly. And the expansion of his music, which is good. But I would like a little more education on how he became Bob Marley. There's also a lack of focus in some of the other storylines. I think there's like an embezzlement story with one of his partners.
The money, Skylar. Where is the rest? Where is the money?
There's a lot of drama with Rita and their marriage and the ups and downs, but I feel like it was kind of all over the place. I feel like it was 3 movies made into one. I don't even think they reached a conclusion with the embezzlement storyline. I mean, they really like to focus on the legacy of Bob Marley, which is fine. It's good, you know, but they are kind of glossing over some details that make it less authentic, in my opinion. I think because the family was involved, they had a hard time showing those pitfalls and those problems of Bob Marley. But, you know, you could still showcase some of those, you know, ups and downs without hurting the positiveness and the influence of Bob Marley. But I think some of the biggest issues with this movie was the missed opportunities. There were some scenes where I felt like they could have really drove it home and hit you right in the chest with some of these emotional moments, but they kind of kept it surface level. And I think there was 1 or 2 scenes that I really thought they were going to go deeper and deeper and really make you, you know, hurt right in the feels. I still think that there's a better way to tell this story in a more depth, more traditional sense without skipping over the greatness and the legacy of Bob Marley, especially with the performances of Kingsley Ben-Adir and Lashana Lynch. I mean, these 2 did a fantastic job. But overall, I was surprised. I was jamming out. I had a great time in the movie. And that's why I'm giving Bob Marley One Love.
No, don't do it!
A B-. Or an 80 if you're a numbers guy. Guys, I walked out of this movie feeling uplifted and inspired. I mean, how could you not with this fantastic music? So if you're a fan of Bob Marley, definitely check this one out. And if you're not, but you like musical biopics, do watch this on streaming. I think it's a great watch either way. So anyways, guys, that's it for today. Thank you for returning to the channel. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of your family. God bless, and we will see you on the next one.